podcast for humans.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Podcast for Humans.
Hello again.
We are your ever faithful hosts, and we have some subjects to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Take us through.
It's been a wacky week. Also, some information.
Personally hectic.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be straight up. I didn't want to do the show today, and I still don't.
Actually, yeah. It's kind of the same.
I wanted to
place
just skip it for the sake of my own sanity. But
Yeah.
I feel obligated.
Yeah, we're on the same place.
This is the one thing I feel like I can't quit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a lot. I'm going through a heavy transition too, so I'm like, God damn it. But yeah, I mean, it's fun, and we want to keep the show going. We want to keep it consistent.
We talked the other day about what we consider to be the official direction of the show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to keep bringing you these kind of subjects, things that we see in the news that don't quite add up, and we agreed that Podcast for Humans can be viewed as a deprogramming machine. So what that means is, well, before I talk about that, one of the viewers asked if we were Trump supporters, and we are absolutely not.
No.
And we actually both always vote for the loser. We always go third party.
It's astounding.
Yeah.
And no matter what, I'm all like, no, I cannot give my vote to either one of the people that I vehemently disagree with. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just like we were talking last time, for the most part, it's to a point where I know that they're like, well, we voted for him. I'm like, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I did not do that.
So what I will say about that is, if you think you're voting for the lesser of two evils, you're still voting for evil. Yeah. So I recommend voting for what you stand for rather than what you stand against.
And I understand why people do it, but it's still to a point where every time I mention a third-party vote, people are like, what's a waste of a vote? Why is it a waste of a vote? You saying it's a waste of a vote makes it that way. All people have to do is like, yeah, I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm not playing the two-party system anymore. That's it. That's all you have to do is just say, no, I'm not doing that.
Well, if people thought we were fucked before, we're also fucked now.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to be fucked again in 3 years. So, again, doesn't matter the color of the person you choose.
Yeah, no.
They don't have your best interest in mind.
No, and they haven't in such a long time. It's to a point where, I think it was Gavin Newsom. This is a funny story. On his yacht, while people are protesting, he looked down upon the masses and said, "We're going to tax the rich," from his yacht.
Yeah.
And they took a photo of him looking down on everyone like a king.
Jeez, just the tone deafness in that imagery is astounding.
Yeah, it was. And people were just like, this is actually happening. It was like a surreal moment. He was just like, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
On his yacht while saying tax. Now, you can say, I'm going to tax the rich, but mean tax yourself too. But the symbolism of him being on his yacht while saying that and just looking down on everybody like, yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
So to the point of the question of whether or not we are Trump supporters, I think that comes from something that we've talked about before, in that just because we haven't said he's literally Hitler.
Yeah, no.
That means we're tacitly approving of him.
Yeah.
Not the case.
Yeah. I don't like him. I don't like, a lot of people don't. He was a loud fool, but he was smart. Yeah. He was a corporate shark. You cannot survive in that world without having something up there. You can't. It's impossible. No matter how much money you have to have some cunning and even be manipulative enough to make it in there. And he was extremely manipulative. He's very smart. He knows how to speak. Mm-hmm. He says what he wants, but he knows how to say things. Regardless, if we can call him stupid, yeah, well, he's smart. He's stupid enough to become president. and he wasn't a part of a political party.
Yeah.
He had friends that people just vilified. Yet he became the president.
Well, to this day, like, people still don't call him a Republican. They say Trumpism.
Yeah,
he's a whiz.
He's his own bread.
Yeah.
He's his own bread. You can't be stupid. and do that. You can. I mean, it's look at what there was the an actual presidential candidate that was something Vermin or something.
Oh yeah, Vermin Supreme.
Yeah, Vermin Supreme.
He's like the king libertarian of all time.
Yeah, I mean
that dude rocks.
Yeah, that dude. He was insane. I mean,
boot on the head.
And yet he's not really that much of a household name. Trump though.
But Vermin Supreme is that if you listen to him speak, he's actually incredible. Everything he says makes sense.
Yeah, it just he tries to be that opposite of what everyone else is, and people aren't ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't want to see some regular dude talking. Just like, what was it, Gary Johnson?
Yeah.
Just regular dude, and I was like, no,
so
that's just too much.
Here's the craziest person that has ever run for president, at least in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
This was in the run-up to the 2012 election, and a theistic Satanist named Jonathan Sharkey ran. He was known as the Impaler.
Wow.
And he said if elected to the presidency, he would hold George W. Bush accountable for war crimes and then impale him on the White House lawn. People didn't really go for that.
No, he was mighty bold.
Yeah.
That's pretty hilarious, actually. I wonder how many votes he got.
Like, probably 666 votes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Stop it there. All his friends, I'm like, that's it, we're stopping there. Oh, man.
So, if anything, I want this show to help people free themselves of their biases, to become better critical thinkers, and to deprogram themselves of propagandists' indoctrination that is injected into you on a daily basis, whether you recognize it or not.
Both sides want a tribalistic thinking machine.
They both benefit.
Yeah, they both benefit from you hating the other person, your neighbors, your family, and I can understand. Some people in general, it's hard to get along with them, it really is. There are some people that even we have decided can't be around you. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, some people are just toxic.
It's just we have to understand that.
But never decide that about somebody based upon a belief.
Yeah. Or the person they voted for.
Yeah, don't fill in the rest based on a single characteristic.
And you have to get to know them first. And if you get to know them and they are extremely toxic, bad personalities, okay, I understand that. But there's a lot more people. There are a lot more people out there that you might think that you don't have much in common with them just because of the way they voted or their politics. But then the rest of their life, that doesn't define them. It means a lot. A lot of people now are turning their politics into their personality, which I think that's the worst thing you can do.
Yes, and that kind of goes for everything. Even down to your job, because if your ideology falls apart and you identify yourself with it, then you too will fall apart. To identify self with ideology is to lose self when ideology is lost. And then where will you be? You'll be a mess.
It can be a part of you. I mean, definitely, like what you do is a party, but it doesn't have to be everything.
Yeah, it is not you.
Yeah, because once you falls apart, what happens? You start losing who you are, and then what? It's detrimental in so many ways.
Well, time to destroy everything I love.
Yeah, and then your whole life falls apart. It shouldn't be that way.
So podcast for humans, deprogramming machine. Aaron, hit us with our topics.
First one's going to be Australia's COVID camps.
Go through them all.
Oh, Australia COVID camps. Another government shutdown. Demi Lovato's Be a Slut post.
This is her saying this, not us.
Yeah.
Podcast for Humans doesn't slut shame.
Teen son makes an OnlyFans for his mom.
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
And let me see. Dan Price, Gravity Payments, a $70,000 minimum salary for all his employees. So yeah.
A victory of capitalism.
Yeah, finally.
Good for him.
We can start with the Australian COVID camps. Right now, Australia is pushed to the point where they want to make remote mining camps into COVID quarantine camps because of the fact that they believe that's the only way to stop the spread.
And make no mistake, people are in these camps already.
Yes, they can fit at least 2,000 people in each camp. The total amount of deaths in Australia has been 1,307. It's not my place to say whether it's time for camps, but there are quite a few people there, and reporters have gone in there. They have videos of this, and they're just, it's astonishing how Australia is actually becoming a pretty, almost a borderline fascist state.
Well, I mean, they're just camping, right? And they're just being like concentrated. The campers are concentrated.
Concentrated in one area.
Yeah.
And so far, there are no crimes being reported. That's because reporters have gone in there. Now, can we be sure? No. In a remote camp in the middle of nowhere with 2,000 people, possibly sickly, and we don't understand the actual details of the camps, staff, who's running them, stuff like that.
My friends, make no mistake, this is tyranny.
Yeah.
Australia has lost its democratic ideals. People are being manhandled, thrown down in the streets for not wearing masks.
Yeah.
For not wearing masks. People are being treated like the worst of the criminals. And they're rounding people up and putting them in these camps. And the reason why this is happening is because people allow it to happen. If you allow yourself to be tyrannized, you will be. And you cannot comply your way out of tyranny. You simply cannot. It does not work. It never has.
Yeah.
Speak up for the people of Australia. And if you live in Australia, speak up for yourself. The heart of your nation depends upon it.
Yeah, I saw a video of an Australian man being visited by police because on Facebook, I think he commented on a video of the protesters.
Oh yeah.
And police visited him and said, "Oh, we saw a comment online." He's like, I don't know about that. And he was just being friendly with them. But they visited him for a comment online. Now, the protesters were because they were protesting because I think it was a labor strike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the labor strike's been going on all over the world.
Yeah.
Workers just want to be treated fairly.
Well, you're also no longer allowed to protest in Australia. So
Yeah, so you can't protest.
Their freedom of speech rights are gone.
Yeah, and the police will visit your house and
they'll pump you for information.
talk to you.
Because they were asking, like, do you know about any other protests starting?
Yeah, they're gonna talk to you. He had to record it, and they were like, "Huh, they're gonna be polite and fix you."
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this is the way the world is going. Because remember, the way it started, first all it was is, hey, just wear the mask. Just wear the mask and it'll be fine. And when people complained about the mask, they were called conspiracy theorists.
Mm-hmm.
When people said, this looks like it could be a slippery slope into tyranny, people said, you're being a reactionary. You're being a conspiracy theorist. And now we have this. We have people literally being put in concentration camps and subject to police violence for not wearing a mask.
Yeah, I
mean, what's more dangerous, getting COVID or getting your ass beat, possibly killed by the police?
Yeah. Like, for me, it doesn't bother me too much, but I can see where the issue is in other countries. Now, when the police are literally beating you and interning you somewhere, that's a problem. And it can easily become a slippery slope. Right now, in America, it's optional in some places. There's some businesses that are mandating it. It's private property. You really can't argue with them too much. With my thing, it's the surveillance state has increased dramatically.
Yes.
Surveillance is everywhere. From your neighbors' Ring cameras, they're recording everyone that passes by, and they're recording your face and sending it to databases. From every store that's recording you as a database, it's being sent out. Faces, names, every register that sees your face, you can put your credit card number in there, attach your name to your credit card, address, sent out to
And your
random
face.
databases.
People know
And your
exactly
face.
what you're buying.
Exactly what you're buying, when you're buying it, how much you're buying, everything. And for me, I don't like that. Maybe I'm paranoid, but I like to hide myself a little bit. I like to cover myself up because I don't want to leave a giant trail. Now, it's nothing we can do for a lot of it, but for me, I like wearing a mask, cover that up. Now, technology is becoming so advanced that even when you put a mask on, your eyes,
Yeah.
they got you either way. They got us, no matter what.
So, the whole thing about complying with something, it's a principle of persuasion. So, someone who has agreed to do something is much more likely from a psychological standpoint to continue complying.
Okay.
So, maybe the original ask is very simple. Hey, tie a ribbon on your finger. And if you tie this ribbon on your finger, then you'll be allowed to buy stuff. Like, people might say, well, that's annoying, but I guess if that's the only way, and so it goes with the mask. And we watched incremental incursions into personal freedom and liberty over the past year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's all fed through compliance. It's people saying, well, just do it. Why would anyone not have our best interest in mind? Because they want to control you.
Yeah, well, there are plenty of people who don't. That's like a lot of people put a lot of trust in government. Like they put too much almost. Even in local governments, don't put so much trust in local governments or the large government and the federal government. There have been multiple cases of the federal government going against, American citizens, doing things to American citizens without consent.
What was the city that suffered a chemical strike as an experiment?
San Francisco.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a biological attack, quote unquote. It was supposed to be inert. They found out one person actually died.
Yeah.
They just wanted to see what would happen if they sprayed this biological agent over the city. How many people would get it? In the end, everyone got it, but it was inert, didn't do anything, but one person actually died of it. It was that one person that their immune system was already compromised. They murdered an American citizen. Even if it was just one, they're like, oh, it's just one person. They murdered somebody for an experiment. That's not including all the other MK Ultra experiments. They just lit on fire before someone found the paperwork. There's
also the Tuskegee experiments more recently.
Yeah, just those.
The people that were killed in the last Afghan airstrike were not ISIS-K terrorists after all. They were a family that had visas that had helped the U.S. military and were scheduled to come to the United States.
Yeah.
And we gave them an airstrike as a thank you. And 7 out of the 10 people killed were children.
Yeah, there was another drone that took control of itself and began to look for targets on its own.
Oh, great. Skynet.
So it was a glitch in the system, quote unquote,
Sure.
whatever that means. I'm not a coder or a security analyst. But it took control of itself and began to look for targets and began to strike targets until they realized, like, wait, what's happening? Who's actually controlling this drone? Like, no one. And naturally there was a panic because that's not supposed to happen. And they found out it just began to program itself and take control as an autopilot.
Well, what was that movie they had? Who was in it? Jamie Foxx in the movie about like the robot jet?
Yeah.
The AI jet?
Yeah.
And then it just turned rogue against the military. It's like, the hell with you.
Yeah. So we have, with advancing technology, we have concerns. There's going to be a lot of concerns. Just with social media. The next world war, it's not going to be the classic, everyone shooting each other. The first thing that's going to go down is the internet, GPS. Those things we use all the time. Just picking up our phone every day. Facebook, Instagram. And instantly, those are going to become weaponized.
Yeah, we're going to lose our satellites. We're going to lose our signals. Power grids are going to go down.
Yep. And the more advanced a society becomes, the more complicated our lives become, the easier it is to disrupt that.
Sure.
And that's going to be a problem later. And people have to recognize that social media, it's wonderful. It's also dangerous. We cannot get used to these things. We can't get used to constantly using GPS for everything. We can't get used to our phones for, our whole lives because the security concerns are vast. And it's to a point where we cannot trust the government for everything. Sadly.
And that might be a way to disable people in itself, is just train helplessness into people.
Yeah. Depending on, everything on a certain entity like your phone or the government, and like you said,
because that can be turned off like that.
Make them compliant and malleable.
Yeah.
And
can you imagine what people would put up with if the threat of the internet was, if that was a sword hanging over people's head, it's like, all right, if you guys don't stop saying bad stuff about us, we're just going to turn off the internet for a week.
Shut it off.
Yeah.
You know? That's what China does.
Yeah.
They'll just shut off a whole city block, their internet, and then shut off the power, and then kidnap the people they need to, and then boom, everything's back on. And then your neighbor's missing.
And then people will wave whatever flag and say whatever slogan they need to get their precious Instagrams back.
Yeah. And it's a very complicated time for people to live in. And right now, I don't like watching the videos of people yelling, so I don't want to fucking wear a mask, and attacking, just employees.
Okay.
There's a balance to it. There's a balance. There is. There's a way to do it, You can be like, oh, okay, cool. I'll go somewhere else. It's that simple.
Yeah,
if you really don't want to.
The restaurant and the service industry workers are not the platform to have that fight. Because guess what? They don't affect corporate policy.
Yeah.
They don't decide what happens in the restaurant. They just work there.
Yeah, they're just getting a paycheck.
Use the First Amendment to redress your grievances against the government. That's what it's there for. It's not to yell at Susan at Chick-fil-A or wherever you're going.
That's just trying to get a paycheck. That's all they're doing.
They are not your enemy.
Yeah,
they are just as frustrated as you are, and you're making their day way worse.
Yep. And so let's not be angry at your fellow citizens, at private businesses that are like, they're just, please follow the rules. That's it. They're not trying to attack you personally. They're just saying, please, just follow the rules. And now, oh, okay, I'll go somewhere else. Thank you. They're like, okay. That's how simple it is. It really is sometimes.
I guarantee that they didn't clock in that day ready for a political showdown.
No. They just want to do their 8 hours and get the fuck away from them. That's it. That's all they want. So please, there is a proper way to do this. Stop vilifying people online just because, oh, I don't want to wear a mask. Okay. You can still be friends with somebody that believes, like, I don't want to wear a mask and I don't want the vaccine. Okay.
They're not a murderer.
Yeah. They're not.
That's very hyperbolic rhetoric.
Yeah. It's immediately villainizing people.
Yeah.
They are monsters now. Like, they're not. All right? I would understand. We're comparing that to somebody, basically, the people that don't get vaccines, I've seen people, like, basically compare them to people who are HIV positive infecting others. Like, those
so
are
funny you mention that, because California actually just decriminalized that.
What?
Knowingly infecting someone with HIV/AIDS is no longer a crime in California.
That does... Wow.
But they have every COVID restriction in the world.
That's astonishing.
Is it really astonishing in the current year?
Wow. Wow.
We gotta change the subject, bro.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. I gotta look something up real quick. What? Let me see. Oh, okay. Sorry. My earlier quote of Gavin Newsom, that is the California governor, it wasn't Gavin Newsom to say we're going to tax the rich. It is Joe Manchin, the Democratic senator. My apologies. Just want to correct that.
Was it from a yacht?
Senator Joe Manchin's yacht, the Almost Heaven. So yeah, this is an actual quote. Sorry about that, people. I corrected myself. Joe Manchin tells protesters from his yacht, "We're going to make the rich pay." Looking down, just proud of himself.
And
so,
I love how his name is, like, it's spelled Manchin.
Yeah, but
Manchin.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom is the
there.
California governor that decriminalized giving HIV to people.
Yeah.
So that is...
He sucks anyway.
That's pretty... I'm not too surprised, honestly, because the California it's becoming such a strange and backward place.
So even though he didn't deliver a speech from a yacht, he still locked down a French restaurant for a birthday party while he had all Californians in some of the worst lockdown conditions in the country.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Another government shutdown may be coming. I think in October, well, like mid-October, they might be running out of money for the federal government.
Yeah, so every October 1st, we have the calendar year, which runs from January to December, and then we have in the government what is called the fiscal year, which goes from October 1st to October 1st. And every time around this year, we always have budgetary and fiscal debates raging on the Senate floor, and they talk about government shutdowns and where are we going to get this money from.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're going to borrow it. Because there's a machine that just straight up prints money.
Yeah.
It rocks. I don't see how we have problems like this. Just fire up the money.
Printing money.
Fire up the money machine.
Yep.
Let's go, baby!
And you can't keep doing that, but
Well, why not?
there are systems at play that are above my current pay grade. And
Like, what is the danger of continual
just
money
printing money? Just printing money. There is a recession coming. So they've been speculating.
Worsening.
It's going. Yeah, it's worse.
It's going to worsen.
It's going to become.
We're in a recession.
It's going to hit harder apparently, but I don't know. We'll have to see because the housing market's in shambles right now.
Yeah.
There's a shortage. Job market is clearly pretty bad. Nobody wants to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's labor shortages everywhere. There's supply chain shortages. I'm sure that anybody watching this video can attest to a marked and noticeable decline in industries across the board. The people that you interact with on a daily basis, attitudes are getting supremely awful.
Yeah. I understand why some people don't want to work. There are some places where it's almost not worth working. It's the amount you spend in gas to go to work is your paycheck. So I can see why. There are situations that are just irreparable in some cases for people. And right now there are not many options. I'm not smart enough to fix it.
Yeah.
Our country has gone through severe ups and downs.
We've come back from worse.
Yeah, we've come back from worse. So, this is what I'm just seeing now. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years it's going to be different. Just don't know how.
So neither of us are economists, but I think we both recognize that the danger of this runaway spending, like this tax and spend attitude, is inflation. Mm-hmm. And that is why things are costing more money. Building supplies cost more, gasoline costs more, food costs more, essential supplies cost more. Everything is costing more to try and make up for this shortfall, and I mean, guess what, folks? We're not even coming close.
Yeah.
We are setting ourselves up for a big disaster, by taking this free government money, by shutting down labor markets, by keeping people in their homes. This is destroying the economy.
I'm sure we are still recovering from the COVID shutdown. It's probably going to take us a while to recover from that. And also the mental recovery. A lot of people weren't adjusted to that. And what's natural, stress from financial stress to, in general, their lives shifting, and you sitting at home thinking and having time to think really changes the dynamic of your life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people don't recognize that until they're doing it.
Yeah.
Till it's a day, week, a month. They're like, oh wow, I really don't like my situation. And then we had that in a global aspect.
Yeah.
And that shifted our culture and society a lot. And now that we're coming out of it, there are a lot of people shifting the way they want to live, the way they think, the way they feel. And we're also very polarized. And it's a very dangerous time. Even though we're one of the most peaceful times on the Earth's history, in the Earth's history, right now we're a powder keg because we're advanced society.
Instability.
Yeah.
Instability and insecurity are what is causing these issues of mental anguish ultimately.
Yeah.
Because if people are having a difficult time looking forward toward tomorrow, they're more than willing to burn today.
Yeah. And that's why it's good to have some kind of empathy for both ends, no matter where you are, because anger turns into, I'm going to burn this city down. One bit of listening to Fox News or CNN, getting angry at one of those, and then walking outside and being triggered by a sticker being triggered by somebody that says, well, I voted for this person, and then boom, you just, I want to kill you.
Anger leads to hate.
And then you get groups of
Then
people hating each other.
Leads to the dark side.
And then you have to be careful. Star Wars. But yeah, right now we are not in a place to hate each other. It's not a good time for that. And we need to help our country and it starts with helping yourself. Help yourself by removing the political biases and removing a lot of the prejudices you have towards other people at this point in time. And a lot of us don't even realize we have them sometimes.
Yeah.
You have to
really need to be mindful.
Yeah, you have to be very mindful and conscious of what you're saying and doing constantly. And making those kind of decisions and shifting the way you think is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. I feel hyper aware almost a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into that right now. That's a topic for a different day. What's next?
But let me see. Oh, New York. They're firing hospital staff and going to attempt to replace them with National Guard staff. The reason why they're firing a lot of hospital staff is because many of them don't want to actually take the vaccine. Their own personal reasons. In my opinion, if you do work in a hospital, I think it's almost don't have much of a choice but to follow, medical guidelines. But also, this is a very special case. I do have the vaccine, so it doesn't really bug me, but I can see why it bugs some people because it has affected some people negatively.
I actually applaud those people, not because I feel one way or the other about vaccines, but because I am a strong proponent of the idea of standing up for what you believe, even if you are negatively affected.
Yeah, they are. They're going to be out of a job.
These people, they said, I'm not doing that, fire me.
Yeah.
And they got fired.
And they're going to be replaced with National Guard, which also, for some reason, that sends up red flags for me. I don't like seeing government in civilian installations or in civilian in place of civilians.
Yeah, kind of bordering on posse comitatus.
Yeah, it's not a national emergency. If it was a hurricane, if there was an invasion or some kind of disaster, okay, National Guard comes and helps people.
If we figure we can do this, where else can we do National Guard?
How far can we push this? New York could be an experiment, and don't quote me on that. But how much are they going to do it? How much the military are they going to start implementing? Are they going to start putting soldiers in the front doors of the hospital?
What if they started replacing police with the National Guard?
Yeah, with Humvees and MRAPs instead. And it can happen. We say it can't, but it truly can. And sadly, we're at a point where we don't know what the government's going to do. We have no idea whether it's red or blue on the podium. We cannot predict anything at this point.
Anyone who has ever been tyrannized in history made that exact same statement. It's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
I'm free.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a scary thought to actually think that America can be imprisoned by its own government. But we do have citizens ready to fight. That's what sets us apart from many nations. Weapons and guns, and people know how to use them. Now, our country is so polarized, we won't know what will happen until we become a fascist state, the entire United States. And it will not be a good day for anyone, but there will be a fight, I think.
If we can't find empathy and compassion and learn to live with one another, measures will be taken that are so extreme in order to quell the backlash that the only freedom you will have remaining is the freedom to do as you're told.
Yeah. And that's not what we want. America was founded under a free human concept. And
John Locke, sovereignty of self, the idea that you own your body, the body is property, and property rights matter.
Yeah. So we need to be careful what our local and federal governments are doing. I'm not saying, put tinfoil on your head to become a conspiracy theorist. No. Whoever has power, they can easily abuse it. Look at a lot of city councils.
Yeah.
A lot of city councilmen get busted for corruption. It happens all the time. It's not this dark, looming thing. It happens. It's just it's a matter of fact.
When people get elected to some shit, it's not like they get a mind wipe and they become this new pure being. We've seen it thousands of times throughout history and dozens, probably hundreds of times in our nation's own history.
Yeah.
Just replete with corruption.
Every city and town has had a dirty cop, politician, councilman. All of us have.
They're human beings.
Yeah,
because they put on a suit and they call themselves something doesn't make them any less fucked up than you or me.
It's just the way it is. And we have to watch out for that. We can't be paranoid and think everyone's coming after us. No. Just gotta accept the fact that yes, we voted these people in, now we have to check them and balance them out.
Yeah,
Start
because
pushing a little too far and hey, what are you doing? You can question them.
yeah, you said no tinfoil hat, which is good, but also no rose-colored sunglasses.
Yeah, there we go. That's a great way to put it. You don't have to be naive to what's happening around you. You can't be naive because next thing you know, the government will notice, and naive people become
Useful
guinea pigs.
idiots.
Yeah, guinea pigs and useful idiots. And just like what happened in the Capitol riots, they were in trouble federally. Those people's lives are changed forever. They have federal charges for something they made a statement, but at what cost? At their whole lives are done.
They shouldn't have entered those buildings.
Yeah, and their lives are done now. For the most part, they're on no-fly lists. They're being charged as domestic terrorists. For what? For making what statement? Now people are just like
Nobody even knows what statement. That was such a confused mess.
And we have to watch out on both sides and all sides what the government is doing. It's possible to be in the middle. It is possible to question your government without being, a seditious individual. It's our duty as citizens to learn what's happening around us, to our country, and to be able to figure out when something's being pushed too far.
Yeah, the power of government derives from the consent of the governed. That's the ideal upon which our nation is built, one of many. That thing with the Capitol, that was not First Amendment protected speech. That was breaking and entering.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Except they didn't break technically, but they did enter it, and they entered and then broke.
A federal building. Yeah. So that was it. Like God, they pushed it.
So yeah. I don't understand what the point of that was. Message remains unclear.
It was emotion and anger, and it was it was people who felt emotionally charged to say that they were cheated and the elections were fraud, and so on and so forth. And I can see.
But how did they prove that?
They didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was all feelings.
Yeah, if you're going to have a message, be cogent.
Yeah.
Be something that people can listen to. Like, okay, I can see the logic in that.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna break stuff. Okay, well now you look like a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what happens when you start to riots. Yeah, they've been known to be effective, but it gets to a point where people get tired of it too.
And it also gives people an excuse.
Yes, definitely.
It's like, okay, well, people that have these sorts of ideas do these sorts of things, so we're going to make this idea illegal.
And then...
And if you talk about it, we're going to come talk to you. Like in Australia.
Yeah. So yeah, New York is possibly going to start replacing staff with National Guard, so we'll see how that goes.
Totally not a slippery slope.
Next, on a lighter note...
Thank God. I need it.
Demi Lovato.
Aaron, I need it.
September 8th, she posted something, this was a while ago, it was just something I ran into. So, it wasn't her post, but as we know, Demi Lovato is very popular. A lot of people, especially young people, follow her. And what she posted was it was a post from somebody else saying,
Direct quote.
be a slut, show your body, get naked, have all the safe, different, consensual sex you want, be kinky, masturbate, make and watch porn, make money. So, people were like, why did you post that when millions of, especially young girls, look at her profile. This is an Instagram profile, and we can see how telling little girls to watch and make porn is maybe a little sketchy.
So let's talk about the pros and cons, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much what it's trying to say was it's a sex work friendly post. Now, I don't consider sex work like work per se. If I cannot tell my little girl in the future to do this job, then I don't consider it a job. I've been attacked and vilified for it. I'm not even gonna apologize for that. I stand where I stand. It's to a point where this type of behavior, I'm not gonna disrespect somebody in the sex work industry. By all means, do what you want. But I don't condone telling young kids, especially below 18, to, be kinky and make porn. It's kind of pushing it for me, but I don't know, maybe I'm just, prude.
So I certainly stand for personal liberty and this and all other things. But what must be understood is that this sort of lifestyle really has a deadline. You can't do this kind of work forever.
Yeah.
Most porn stars don't go past, or women anyway, don't go past their 20s.
Yeah, and a lot of porn stars have a lot of horror stories.
Yeah.
A lot of
'Cause it's a very exploitative industry.
of awful things that happen to them.
So, be as idealistic as you like, but the fact of the matter is a lot of guys aren't going to find women that live these sorts of lives desirable. Now, this isn't me saying this. This is just how people are. And while women may control sex, men control relationships. What I mean by that is that in order for sex to happen between a man and a woman has to agree to it. That's usually the dynamic.
Yeah,
it's
unless
not,
it's rape, which is a
Yeah.
whole different.
totally different thing,
Yeah,
totally
different
different
thing.
subject.
Yeah.
You go to a bar and it's not women hunting down guys looking to take them home. It's always the other way around. It's 90% of the time based on personal observation. Relationships, however, require the time and cooperation of a man. Now, if women are going to be frivolous with sex based on the post of Demi Lovato, there's no reason why men also shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So when it gets to the point of, well, hey, I want to settle down now and find a guy, why can't I find Mr. Right? Mr. Right's married.
Yeah.
Mr. Right's not dating a porn star.
Yeah. With I used to be in photography, and I still am technically, and I even stopped taking certain photos, especially OnlyFans photos, because I felt like I was contributing to a negative part of our culture.
Oh,
So
certainly.
it's very lucrative, and I stopped because I was like, wow, I don't want to contribute to this anymore.
Yeah, it's exploitative.
I found it,
It
and-
preys on loneliness.
Yeah, and the last one I took was a woman who was married, and her husband was in the other room, and I even felt dirty doing it. Like, this is weird. I mean, I got paid, and I'm like, this is not right. And then
Could be their king.
He didn't like it, she told me.
Oh.
And I was like, wow. I felt even worse, but I mean, I took the cash, and I was like, I felt bad doing it. I didn't like it, and after that I said, I'm not doing this anymore.
Would you say you took the money and ran?
I took the money and ran. But
Art.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of art, where was that? I don't remember the case.
Wasn't
of
he,
that.
he was Dutch, wasn't he?
Let me look this up real quick. There was a artist who ripped off an art museum.
I love this story.
And let me look this up because I lost it.
This is like my perfect revenge against the modern art world.
There we go. Yeah. Museum says they gave an artist $84,000 in cash to use in artwork.
What was his name?
He delivered blank canvases and titled it "Take the Money and Run." A Danish artist was given $84,000. Let me see. Instead, the Jens Henning gave the Kunsten Museum of Modern Art in Denmark 2 blank canvases and said they were titled "Take the Money and Run." He was asked to recreate 2 of his previous works, an average Danish annual income. So 2 of his previous works he was supposed to recreate, and he used actual cash with both of those. So they gave him cash to do it, and he was like, nah.
Some suitcases of money.
And he was like, nah, not doing that. It was $84,000 US dollars, too. He asked for US dollars.
So here's the great thing about this. You see art installations like we've spoken about the banana taped to the wall.
Yeah.
We've spoken about the guy who bought air as an art piece.
They gave him a certificate for that piece of air that he bought.
He has to pay to use his imagination in his own home, essentially, is what that means. And now we have this guy who is turning the modern art world on his head by completely subverting it.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, someone actively going out and ripping off the consumer, he was given all the ammunition he needed to indeed take the money and run. Because they gave him indefinable characteristics, and I'm not really sure what they were hoping for, but what they received is something that I absolutely love.
Yeah. It's hilarious because now they can't find him. He's like, go fuck yourselves, guys.
So maybe this will be a lesson to art curators and gallery owners to stop paying money for nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, he did it on purpose. But yeah, no, it's a hilarious piece of modern art world because just like when Banksy shredded his own art.
Yeah.
During the actual auction.
Yeah. I love any time the modern art world is perverted or subverted, or someone just takes people's sensibilities and what they think they know, with their expertise, and just completely destroys it. It makes me happy inside.
Next, this one's a weird one, but another back to the OnlyFans culture. A teen son, Leonard Hathaway, 19 years old, creates an OnlyFans for his mom.
He's from the UK, this guy?
I couldn't actually find the country he was at.
Okay.
I kept looking. But Leonard Hathaway, I could assume he's probably from the UK.
Perhaps.
Probably. His mother's quote, "My teen son signed me up for OnlyFans so he could get more pocket money.
What a son.
He's fully supportive of my career." So OnlyFans has gotten to the point where it's become a family activity to prostitute your mom online for pocket money.
Say that one more time.
What?
A son is prostituting his mother.
Yeah. I mean, we can call it what it is. That's
exactly what it
is. For cash, men are paying to see his mom naked for cash. And guess who's taking the photos? Her 13-year-old daughter, his sister.
So nothing at all weird there. When religious extremists talk about the degeneracy of the West and why we need to fall and why they need to erase us with their ideology, this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
A son should not be prostituting his mom on an app. It's ridiculous.
And
it's
I'm
tasteless,
sure
classless, and completely horrible in every way.
There are sex workers out there or people advocating this is awesome.
It's indefensible.
And I don't see that guy as a person. He's a fiendish individual.
Yeah, total psycho.
To sell your mom online, and
I wanted an Xbox.
I've already started. At first, OnlyFans to me, I was like, yeah, it's just whatever. But now I'm noticing sons are selling their moms. It blows my mind.
I mean, it's certainly giving rise to some very dark thoughts.
Yeah.
Where people now feel justified in doing this because it exists.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't, and now there are more relationships coming out that you get married, and then they're like, well, I'm going to start doing this. Like, no. And they're like, well, I have the freedom to. You do have the freedom to, but you're pushing it. If you want to do this, you should establish that before a relationship starts. I started noticing that when I was taking photos, and they didn't tell them that they wanted to be OnlyFans, or they even were an OnlyFans. And then they got married, like, oh yeah, I do this. And the guys are like, okay, they say they're okay with it.
Yeah.
Not many men are, which is it's a normal thing to not be comfortable with your spouse or partner selling themselves in some kind of way. It's normal.
Well, sure, because it cheapens the relationship.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I pledged myself to you. You pledge yourself to your subscribers.
Until somebody pays a little more.
Yeah.
And it's a trust thing. It's a basic trust where, I'm with you until somebody pays me a little more.
Yeah, so people are, especially in the modern era, they're always looking for that, not one-upsmanship, like what's
next
the word?
Best thing? Or...
Yeah, there's a phrase for that, but yeah, essentially next best thingmanship.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's the word would come later.
Yeah.
But that...
When the cameras are off.
Yeah, of course.
And the mics are silent.
But, it's... Every time I get into a debate with somebody over this type of talk, sex work, I respect people and say, well, whatever, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want, but there are consequences to that. There are consequences to relationships, future relationships, current relationships. And when I see people selling their mother, I have a problem with that. But you know what? He has the freedom to sell his mom, and later I guarantee you he's probably going to sell his sister.
Yeah.
So when I see people selling their mother...
since she's raised in an environment where that's normal, it's simply going to continue.
A son is going to pimp out his sister and his mom on OnlyFans, and people applauded OnlyFans when it wasn't canceled. They're like, oh, bravo! Like, you're applauding a platform that allows sons to sell their mothers and sisters. And you should really take a long look in the mirror and really question your beliefs when you see this. And if you're okay with this behavior, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, you have an adult woman involving her children in sex work.
So
she should be in jail.
Yeah.
I don't know how this isn't illegal.
And
it's contributing to the delinquency of a minor at the very least.
It's gonna get worse, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, if people realize they can get away with things,
yeah. It's gonna start. There was an actual funny poll that porn sites did. They were like, "What's the most popular porn?" Apparently, it's incest porn.
Oh yeah, like the whole.
What the fuck?
Here's the basic setup. I just learned about this a couple months ago. It's like the whole stuck stepmom, stepsister.
It's become a fucking gif and a meme. Like, what the fuck?
It's like, oh, I was getting something out of the washer, and then I got stuck.
It's ridiculous.
What are you doing, step bro?
Incest porn. Like, what is wrong with fucking people? But I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. But once I start, this is an actual article, teen son, OnlyFans mom. So I gotta put.
Like, whatever trips your trigger, I'm not gonna judge you for most anything, but you should not be involving your children in sex work. That's not a kink. That's a crime.
Yeah, and if you're okay with that, I don't know what to tell you. I will vehemently disagree with that type of behavior. But hey, who the fuck am I? Some idiot. So.
Maybe watch the show some more until you get your head on straight. Boy, oh boy.
Our next topic is actually kind of a lighter note. Dan Price. He's the CEO of Gravity Payments. He founded his company in 2004, and what he wanted to do was establish a $70,000 yearly pay for all of his employees, 120 employees.
Now that's what I call a living wage.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Now, it sent him into almost financial ruin, but he said no. He's doing it for his employees. He kept a lot of customers. He actually gained a lot of customers from it. He did lose a lot of people because they didn't believe that it was right that he was paying his employees a livable wage. They thought that was communistic for some reason. And what happened was now he is one of the most successful online payment companies in the United States. What happened was he actually gained an extreme loyalty from his employees, who knew that paying them a livable wage and giving them futures and safety would gain loyalty.
Well, that's not just a livable wage, though.
Yeah, no, it's more than livable. Yeah,
that is,
great.
I can buy a house wage.
Yeah.
That is, I could send my kids to college wage.
Yeah. There's stories.
$70K a year is, you're starting to get on like the upper end of American society.
Yeah, there's stories where that, like some of these people are explaining like how now like we can have a child, and now we got our first home, and we have working cars, and they stayed loyal to him. They helped build his company when he was in financial straits.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was going to go down. And of course, almost every business channel in America was just vilifying and attacking him, saying he's a loser, he's going to fail. And now he's extremely successful with a loyal employee pool. And it's only expanding.
Well, he's breaking the machine. That's why people are coming after him.
Yeah.
Because now people realize they look bad.
Yeah. He cut his own wages just so his employees could have good ones. And that's, he put them over himself, and he was equal to them.
That is good leadership.
How dare you? How dare you look at these plebes and give them more?
Yeah, they don't deserve more. We deserve it all. We deserve to own everything.
And he started this when he was very young, but he said he wanted to create a culture that took care of people. Mm-hmm. And his people are now very grateful, and they took care of him. They bought him a brand new Tesla that he was like, this was his dream car. He thought he'd never have it, and all his employees got together, put money in to buy him that car.
To play devil's advocate, one can easily be cynical and say that he purchased their loyalty.
Yeah, yeah.
But even if he did, so what?
That's what a job is.
It was an effective strategy.
Yeah, that's what a job is. You're not going in for 90% of people who go to work, they're not going in for free. Yeah. There's a small percentage of like, yeah, you can pay me or not. Very, very small. Most people that go to work, they need the paycheck. Even if they love the job, they need to pay their rent. They need to pay their mortgage. They have bills.
To me, a job is nothing more than a transaction. It's a means to an end. Yeah. The end being me trading my time and effort for currency.
Yeah.
If I didn't need the currency, I wouldn't go.
Yeah. You do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like I have this this inborn loyalty toward labor.
Yeah. Like
if I was rich, I would do whatever the fuck I wanted.
The greater good. No, it's not. This isn't communist China. Yeah. But that's what they want you to make it. They want you to, like, you're working for the greater good.
I would use my money to help people on my own terms.
I've seen internships that are like, now they're making you pay for an internship.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds astounding.
But people will do it because they want the resume that bad. It's psychotic.
I'm like, you're paying for an internship now?
Well, I really feel like this is going to be a good part of my future when I'm going to be the the vice president of marketing management.
Yeah. And it's astounding when I've seen people like, don't ever, it's rude to ask for pay. I'm like, it's rude to ask for how much you, no. It's
negotiate your wages, demand what you are worth, and more.
It's astounding for you to say that, oh, you're not supposed to ask for pay. Like, that's why I'm here. I wouldn't be in front of you. I'm not working for free, but they want to make Americans slaves.
Yeah, they want to inculcate that thought process in people where it's like, oh, we have to be loyal to this company and we have to just seem like we want to be here. It's like, no, that's unreasonable.
Yeah. Company loyalty is gone mainly because of the fact that corporations are not loyal to their employees anymore. They're not. They don't care about you. It's very rare that you find companies that care, like, I think it was Costco. The Costco CEO cut his own wages just to make sure he gave good employee wage for years. That's why people love working at Costco, because it's not a bad place to work.
But ultimately, it's brainwashing, and it's cult-like behavior in furtherance of the strengthening of an economic machine.
Yeah.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Yeah. Don't think you are. But yeah, we went over a lot. Yeah, it's quite a bit. Yeah, and
What's our theme today?
Our theme, I don't know. It was all over the place, really.
Yeah, we were like, I'll be straight up honest with you guys. Like, I already said it. I don't want to be here right
Yeah.
now.
It was hard for me too.
I
I
wish-
just put the shit together and like, all right, let's do this.
I wish I could not read the news for a week, but I feel very committed to this idea, and I'm glad that I toughed it out.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of fun with this, but it is difficult at times, especially, we all have stressors in our lives. We all have things that we have to deal with. And then on top of that, we dig into the woes of the world, and we try to keep our heads above that too. And hopefully, as we build this For Humans family, we can all find a way to tread water together. This has been another week of Podcast for Humans, and we wish you all a very good night.
Till next time.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Podcast for Humans. If you like what you saw, make sure you like and subscribe, and you can find new content here every Sunday evening. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And remember, if you don't think for yourself, there's always someone willing to do it for you.